The 32nd annual Sundance Film Festival ends tomorrow in Park City, Utah, after presenting this year's crop of the best and the brightest in independent filmmaking.
This is freedom. This is freedom to create and to do and to build and as artists, as individuals.
But look, you're overreacting. Even if you were developing this for freaks like us, and I doubt you are, nobody wants to buy a computer. Nobody.
How does somebody know what they want if they've never even seen it?
True words. That's Ashton Kutcher as the late Steve Jobs in Jobs. Here with a look at more of this year's notable Sundance films is Michael Hogan, Executive Arts and Entertainment Editor for the Huffington Post. Great to have you with us. Good morning.
Thanks so much. Good morning.
The Steve Jobs biopic is getting a lot of attention, and I think I read last night Steve Wozniak, who you saw playing against Ashton Kutcher there, Steve Wozniak was saying, this is one of the original founders of Apple, that he thought it wasn't exactly on point.
Yeah, this is one of the problems about making movies about people who are still alive. It's easier to do Lincoln because Wozniak immediately came out and said, oh, this scene doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's not even, it never happened, and it doesn't even capture the meaning of what our experience was like. But, it's a movie. We hear that all the time, and it's true in this case. It premiered last night. The Sundance closing film is not always the best film in the festival. This one's very high profile, and apparently Ashton Kutcher is pretty good, at least. And the film.
You think he pulled it off?
I'm hearing, I got back from Sundance a few days too early to see it, but I'm hearing that people are pleasantly surprised by his performance, but the film is maybe a bit too much of a film about how great Steve Jobs is instead of really exploring the complexities of his character.
So Sundance is often where the American public starts to first hear of certain movies that then come out and sort of become culturally relevant. What else are you hearing? What else should people be listening for in terms of movie names that did well in Sundance?
Well, there have been a lot of interesting films. And, think of Sundance as the NFL draft of Hollywood, right? You've got the players are the filmmakers who come there with movies. They're looking for a bigger audience. Then you've got the owners are kind of the studios, the distributors looking for the next big thing. And so there's everything from people that no one's ever heard of to people who've done something, but now they're going to have a chance to do something bigger. So, the guys who wrote Descendants, which was an Oscar favorite 2 years ago, they came out, directed a film called The Way, Way Back with Steve Carell, and that film got picked up by Fox Searchlight for $10 million. So that's a movie that's definitely going to be coming to a theater near you. And there have been a number of pickups. It's an interesting, it was a pretty good year. There were a lot of films that got bought, not a lot of big money purchases, but a lot of films that are coming out.
There's also a lot of historical references. Anita Hill, there's one dedicated to her. There's one dedicated to former Vice President Dick Cheney.
Yeah, well, documentaries were a big thing this year. There were a lot of great documentaries. Anita is about Anita Hill. It revisits her 1991 testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee and really shows how she became an inspiration to a lot of women around the country. And she got a standing ovation at the screening. And the World According to Dick Cheney, R.J. Cutler, spent 4 days with Dick Cheney. And it's interesting because I think a lot of liberals were not thrilled with this portrayal because they want him to just be the Antichrist, period. But apparently it is a damning portrait of Cheney, and it shows how he bent the truth, for reasons that he felt were correct, but even ended up alienating President Bush. That's one of the big revelations from this film.
Okay, Michael Hogan, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.